Everything you desire is already within reach, but only if you dare to release control. The harder you chase, the further it moves. The more you force, the more resistance you create. Yet those who understand the paradox of letting go seem to have the universe bow to their will. They don't struggle, they don't push. They move with a force greater than effort itself. This is the secret hidden in plain sight, the paradox principle. Master it, and reality will shift in ways you never imagined. Introduction. For centuries, we have been taught that power comes from control, that success is a result of effort, that if we just try harder, push further, and hold on tighter, we will shape reality to our will. But this is the greatest illusion of all. The truth is counterintuitive, yet undeniable. Those who surrender, receive. Those who detach, attract. Those who step back, move forward. You stand at the threshold of a new understanding, not by accident, but by alignment. Every struggle, every setback, every failed attempt to control life has led you here. Because you were never meant to fight for what is already yours. The universe does not respond to force. It responds to frequency. It moves in harmony with those who understand its laws, who align rather than demand. The moment you stop grasping, chasing, and forcing, everything starts flowing to you effortlessly. This is not just a philosophy. It is a principle, a universal law that governs reality. It is the paradox principle. And once you unlock it, the universe will no longer resist you. It will move with you. Are you ready to let go and watch the universe bend to your will? If yes, then type, "I am ready," in the comments to send a signal to the universe. And don't forget, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to become one of the first 1,000 aligned souls on this journey. The shift begins now. Chapter 1. The Illusion of Control. Why letting go is the only way to gain power. From the moment we become aware of the world, we are conditioned to believe that control equals power. We try to control our environment, our relationships, our future, and even the way people perceive us. This illusion is deeply ingrained because it gives us a false sense of security. If we can predict, manage, and manipulate circumstances, we believe we can shape our destiny. But no matter how much effort we exert, life often unfolds in ways we never anticipated. The more we attempt to force outcomes, the more resistance we encounter. The truth is, control is not real. It is a mirage we chase, never realizing that true power lies in surrender. Imagine holding a handful of sand. If you keep your hand open, the grains rest naturally in your palm. But the moment you squeeze your fist, trying to hold on to every grain, the sand begins to slip through the gaps between your fingers. The tighter you grip, the more you lose. This is the paradox of control. The more desperately you try to hold on to something, the more likely it is to escape you. This applies to relationships, success, and even happiness. People who cling too tightly to control often find themselves exhausted, frustrated, and further from what they desire. Meanwhile, those who learn to release their grasp and allow things to flow naturally often experience greater ease, success, and fulfillment. There is a profound difference between control and influence. Control is rigid. It is an attempt to dominate and dictate every aspect of a situation. Influence, on the other hand, is fluid. It allows for movement, adaptation, and responsiveness. Think of a river. Water does not force itself through obstacles. It flows around them, reshaping the landscape over time. This is the nature of true power, not in forcing, but in guiding. A person who understands this does not try to impose their will on the universe. Instead, they align with the natural currents of life, making subtle adjustments that lead to effortless progress. Those who master influence do not struggle against reality. They work with it, subtly shaping outcomes without resistance. Resistance is a force that arises when we fight against the natural flow of life. Many believe that pushing harder is the key to success, but in reality, resistance creates tension and blocks the very things we desire. Imagine trying to swim against a powerful current. No matter how strong you are, you will exhaust yourself before making real progress. But if you surrender to the current and move with it, you will find that it carries you forward with far less effort. This is how life works. The more we resist change, uncertainty, or unexpected outcomes, the more suffering we create for ourselves. When we let go of resistance, we open ourselves to new possibilities, unexpected opportunities, and paths we may never have considered. Detachment is not about giving up or becoming indifferent. It is about releasing the need to control every detail and trusting that life will unfold as it should. When we step back and let go, we become magnetic to the very things we once chased. A person who is desperate for love often repels it, while someone who is at peace with themselves effortlessly attracts meaningful connections. A person who fixates on money from a place of lack struggles, while someone who trusts abundance often finds wealth flowing to them. This is because detachment removes the energetic resistance that blocks our desires. It allows us to move from a place of confidence rather than desperation, from trust rather than fear. Letting go does not mean losing power. It means stepping into a higher form of power, one that does not need to force, chase, or struggle. It is the paradox of surrender. When you release control, you gain everything. Chapter 2. The Inversion Rule. How doing the opposite unlocks breakthroughs. Most people are taught that success requires relentless effort, hard work, and constant striving. The idea that working harder leads to better results is deeply ingrained in our minds, but reality often operates in the opposite way. When we push too hard, we create resistance. When we try to force outcomes, we unknowingly block the very things we want. True success, ease, and breakthroughs often come when we do something counterintuitive, when we stop forcing and start flowing. The greatest paradox of life is that sometimes doing less leads to more, and letting go allows things to come together effortlessly. Overexertion creates tension. When we overwork ourselves, obsess over problems, or micromanage every detail, we disrupt the natural flow of life. Imagine trying to force a knot open by pulling at it aggressively. It only tightens, but if you gently loosen the tension and work with it, the knot unravels easily. The same principle applies to life. When we stop trying so hard, things often fall into place on their own. This is why some people achieve great things effortlessly, while others struggle endlessly. It is not about working harder, it is about working with the natural rhythm of life instead of against it. This idea is reflected in what is known as the backward law, a concept often discussed in spiritual traditions. It states that the more you chase something, the more it eludes you. This is why people who desperately seek happiness often feel miserable, why those who are obsessed with finding love struggle in relationships, and why those who constantly worry about money feel financially stuck. The act of chasing implies a state of lack. It signals to the universe that you do not have what you want, and so it remains out of reach. The key is to shift from a state of pursuit to a state of being. Instead of chasing happiness, embody joy in the present moment. Instead of desperately seeking love, become love itself. Instead of fixating on money, cultivate a mindset of abundance. When you stop chasing, the things you desire naturally come to you. Surrendering is not about giving up. It is about releasing attachment to outcomes and trusting that things will unfold as they should. Strangely, when we stop clinging so tightly to our desires, they often manifest more quickly. This is because attachment creates resistance. It adds pressure, anxiety, and fear. But when we trust that things will happen in the right time and in the right way, we allow space for miracles to unfold. Think of it like planting a seed. If you constantly dig it up to check if it is growing, you disrupt its process. But if you plant it, water it, and trust that it will grow, it flourishes effortlessly. The same is true for our goals, dreams, and manifestations. When we release attachment, things accelerate in unexpected ways. This concept is further amplified by the mirror effect. Reality reflects our inner state, meaning that what we fear losing, we unconsciously push away. When we are terrified of losing someone, we often act in ways that create distance. When we are obsessed with keeping money, we operate from scarcity and block financial flow. Fear creates tension, and tension repels. On the other hand, when we let go of fear and trust that what is meant for us will stay, we create a magnetic energy that draws things closer. Letting go does not mean being careless. It means understanding that clinging too tightly often causes what we desire to slip through our fingers. Sometimes the greatest breakthroughs come from doing the exact opposite of what feels natural. This is the principle of opposite action. If you always react with frustration, try responding with patience. If you always avoid risk, lean into uncertainty. If you always resist change, surrender to it. Life often tests us by presenting us with situations where our usual patterns no longer work. In those moments, doing the opposite of what we have always done can create a massive shift. When we step outside our conditioned responses and try something different, we break the cycle and allow a new reality to unfold. True transformation happens not by doing more of the same, but by embracing the paradox, by realizing that sometimes the fastest way forward is to let go, and the most powerful action is to surrender. Chapter 3. The Space Creation Law. Releasing to receive more life operates in cycles of receiving and releasing, expansion and contraction. Just as nature follows seasons where trees shed their leaves to make way for new growth, we too must let go of what no longer serves us in order to receive what is meant for us. The universe functions on balance, and whenever we hold on to something too tightly, whether it be possessions, relationships, beliefs, or fears, we block the natural flow of energy. Without space, nothing new can enter. Most people seek to manifest abundance, love, and success. Yet they cling to what is familiar, not realizing that holding on to outdated energy prevents new blessings from arriving. Imagine trying to pour fresh water into a cup that is already full. No matter how much clean water you add, the cup will simply overflow, unable to receive anything new. The same principle applies to life. If you want more, whether it be wealth, love, or new opportunities, you must first make space. This is why decluttering is so powerful, not just in a physical sense, but also mentally and emotionally. When we hoard unnecessary thoughts, worries, or attachments, our energy becomes stagnant, and we unknowingly block the very things we desire. Releasing is not about loss. It is about creating room for something greater. Holding on too tightly creates resistance. When we grip onto relationships that have run their course, jobs that no longer fulfill us, or ideas that limit our potential, we become stuck. Energy needs movement to thrive, and clinging to what no longer aligns with us traps us in a cycle of stagnation. Fear of loss is often what keeps people from letting go, but in reality, refusing to release only prolongs suffering. Many times, we hold on to things because they are familiar, mistaking familiarity for security. But true security comes from trust, trusting that whatever leaves is making way for something better. There is a powerful phenomenon known as the energetic vacuum principle. This principle suggests that when you release something from your life, the universe naturally fills the empty space with something of equal or greater value. It is why, after a breakup, people often meet someone new once they fully move on. It is why, after quitting a job that felt unfulfilling, better opportunities suddenly appear. The universe does not operate in emptiness. It seeks balance. But if we refuse to release what no longer fits, we prevent the next phase of our growth from arriving. This is why surrendering is not passive. It is an active invitation for something greater to enter. Letting go does not mean giving up. It means trusting that what is meant for you will find you. When you stop micromanaging outcomes and forcing things to go a certain way, life unfolds with greater ease. Opportunities multiply because you are no longer restricting possibilities with your own expectations. Many people try to control every aspect of their lives, believing that forcing things into place will bring them happiness. But control is often an illusion. When you loosen your grip, you allow life to move in ways that are beyond what you could have planned. Sometimes, what we think we want is far smaller than what is actually possible. By letting go of rigid expectations, we open ourselves to outcomes that exceed our imagination. However, releasing without trust is incomplete. True surrender requires faith. Faith that whatever leaves is not a loss, but a clearing. Faith that the unknown holds something better than the familiar. When people let go with fear, they often try to rush to fill the empty space with anything, rather than allowing what is meant to arrive. But patience is key. Trusting the process means resisting the urge to grasp at whatever appears first, knowing that the right things will come at the right time. When we release with confidence rather than fear, we move in harmony with the natural flow of life, and everything begins to align effortlessly. Chapter 4. The Timing Illusion. Heart. Why forcing the clock works against you. Many people spend their lives waiting for the perfect moment to act, believing that there is an ideal time when everything will align effortlessly. This belief, however, often leads to unnecessary delays and missed opportunities. The truth is, there is no universally perfect timing, only the timing that aligns with your personal growth and readiness. People hesitate because they fear failure, uncertainty, or change, convincing themselves that they must wait for the right conditions before taking a step forward. But in reality, waiting often becomes an excuse for inaction. The mind tells stories of needing more preparation, more clarity, or more certainty. But these delays are self-imposed limitations. When you understand that time is a construct and that alignment matters more than external conditions, you begin to move with the natural rhythm of life rather than against it. Trying to force things to happen on your timeline creates tension. People often push, struggle, and exhaust themselves in an effort to control when and how things unfold. This artificial pressure leads to frustration because life does not respond to force in the way we expect. When you try to manipulate timing, you are essentially saying that you do not trust the natural process of life. This resistance causes stress anxiety, and burnout. Flow, on the other hand, means moving in harmony with the unfolding of events. It means recognizing when doors open naturally and when forcing them would only lead to unnecessary struggle. Learning to distinguish between effort that is aligned and effort that is forced is key to living with ease. Delays are often misunderstood as failures or obstacles, but they are frequently divine interventions. The universe operates on a scale far greater than what we can perceive. When things do not happen as quickly as we want them to, it is often because there is a higher alignment being prepared. Many times, we are being protected from something we cannot yet see, or we are being given time to develop the strength, wisdom, or clarity needed for what is coming. Instead of resisting delays, embracing them as signs of deeper alignment allows us to trust that everything is happening at the right pace. The things meant for you are never denied. They are only rearranged to arrive when you are truly ready to receive them. Growth in nature provides a powerful lesson on timing. A seed, once planted, does not sprout instantly. It requires time, nourishment, and patience. If you were to dig up a seed every day to check if it is growing, you would only disrupt the process and prevent it from taking root. The same applies to life. Many people plant intentions or take initial steps toward a goal, but their impatience leads them to constantly question whether progress is happening. This doubt and interference disrupt the natural unfolding of events. Just like a tree grows in its own time, success, love, and abundance manifest when the foundation is strong enough to sustain them. Trusting that the process is working, even when you cannot see immediate results, is crucial in mastering divine timing. Recognizing when to act and when to wait is one of the greatest skills in life. Timing is not about passively waiting, nor is it about rushing ahead blindly. It is about sensing when the energy is aligned for movement. Some moments call for bold action, while others require patience. The key is learning to listen to the subtle signs that indicate whether it is time to step forward or hold back. When you align with divine timing, you stop feeling anxious about delays and start understanding that everything is working in your favor. Instead of fighting against the natural flow of events, you learn to ride the current, allowing life to unfold in the most effortless and harmonious way possible. Chapter 5. The Reordering Chaos. Why Life Falls Apart. Before falling into place, life often feels like it is crumbling just before a major transformation takes place. When things seem to be falling apart, it is easy to panic, resist, or feel as if everything is going wrong. However, what appears to be destruction is often a process of deep realignment. Old patterns, beliefs, relationships, and situations that no longer serve you must be cleared to make space for what is meant to come. Just as a forest fire clears dead growth to allow new life to flourish, life sometimes needs to shake things up to create the conditions for expansion. This phase can feel uncomfortable, even painful, but it is not punishment. It is preparation for something greater. Many people experience a period where everything seems to go wrong at once. Relationships break down, career paths become uncertain, financial stability wavers, or personal struggles intensify. This sudden upheaval can feel overwhelming, leading to fear and self-doubt. However, chaos often arises when the energy of your life is shifting towards something new. The things that once felt stable may no longer be aligned with your growth, and as a result, they start to break down. This is not a sign that you are failing, but rather an indication that change is necessary. The old structures cannot hold the weight of the new reality trying to emerge. and so they must collapse to make way for something stronger and more aligned with your purpose. Destruction is often the first stage of transformation. Many ancient teachings and spiritual traditions speak of this cycle, where the old must fall before the new can rise. Just like a crumbling tower makes way for a stronger foundation, parts of your life that are no longer sustainable must be removed. This process can feel unsettling because humans naturally seek stability and security. But true growth requires letting go of what no longer fits. Holding on to something that is meant to dissolve only prolongs suffering. When you allow the dismantling to happen, you create the space necessary for realignment. Instead of seeing breakdowns as setbacks, they can be viewed as openings for something better to take form. During this period, it is common to feel the loss of people, habits, or identities that were once a significant part of your life. Friendships may fade, careers may shift, and personal aspirations may evolve. The universe is not taking these things away as a form of punishment, but rather as a way of guiding you toward a path that is more in tune with who you are becoming. Clinging to what no longer serves you only delays the inevitable. When something is meant to leave, forcing it to stay only causes resistance and struggle. The sooner you trust that these losses are making way for something better, the more smoothly you can move through this period of transition. One of the most powerful lessons during times of chaos is learning to remain still within the storm. Fear and anxiety often arise when the future feels uncertain, leading to a desperate need for control. However, reacting impulsively or resisting the changes only creates more turbulence. The ability to remain calm, centered, and open allows you to navigate the unknown with greater ease. Instead of viewing uncertainty as something to fear, it can be seen as an opportunity for deeper trust. Growth does not come from avoiding discomfort, but from allowing it to reshape you into a stronger, wiser, and more aligned version of yourself. It is often in the moments of greatest difficulty that the biggest transformations occur. Just before a breakthrough, life may test your patience, resilience, and trust. The discomfort of change is temporary, but the growth it brings is lasting. Many of the most successful, fulfilled individuals have experienced significant breakdowns before reaching their greatest achievements. These moments serve as initiations, pushing you beyond limitations and into a new reality. When you understand that chaos is simply a reordering process, you no longer fear it. Instead, you learn to embrace it, knowing that everything is falling apart only so that it can come together in a way that is more powerful than you ever imagined. Chapter 6, The Quantum Observer Effect. Reality shifts when you stop forcing it. Reality is not something that exists separately from you. It is shaped by your thoughts, emotions, and, most importantly, your focus. Whatever you consistently place your attention on tends to grow, whether it is positive or negative. If you constantly worry about problems, they seem to multiply. If you focus on opportunities, more seem to appear. This is not just a psychological effect. It is a fundamental principle of how reality operates. Your mind acts like a lens, filtering what you perceive, and what you perceive determines how you interact with the world. The more you direct your energy toward something, the more real and dominant it becomes in your experience. Science has demonstrated that observation itself plays a role in shaping reality. In quantum physics, the famous double-slit experiment revealed that particles behave differently when they are observed. When no one is watching, they exist in a state of pure potential, acting as both waves and particles at the same time. The moment they are observed, however, they take on a definite form, as if reality solidifies in response to awareness. This suggests that the act of looking at something, giving it attention, has the power to change its state. While this may seem like an abstract scientific idea, its implications are profound. It means that on some level, reality responds to consciousness. What you observe, focus on, and expect plays a role in shaping what actually happens. Many people unknowingly work against themselves by focusing too intensely on what they want. Desire is natural, but when it turns into obsession or desperation, it creates resistance. The harder you try to force an outcome, the more elusive it becomes. This is because excessive attachment creates tension, which disrupts the natural flow of energy. Think of water in a pond. When it is still, you can see clearly into it. If you stir it up with frantic movement, it becomes murky and unclear. In the same way, when you hold on to an outcome too tightly, you create mental turbulence that prevents things from unfolding smoothly. When you let go of the need for something to happen in a particular way, you remove the resistance that was blocking it. Your external reality is a reflection of your internal state. When you are at peace within, your surroundings begin to align with that energy. If you constantly feel stressed, anxious, or uncertain, the world will seem to mirror those feelings back to you in the form of obstacles, delays, or confusion. But when you cultivate a sense of inner calm and certainty, your reality starts to reflect that as well. The world does not change first, you do. People often try to fix their circumstances by changing external things, but this approach is backwards. Real transformation happens from the inside out. When you shift your mindset, emotions, and expectations, your environment naturally adjusts to match your new state of being. The most powerful way to influence reality is not through control, but through observation. Instead of trying to force situations to go a certain way, step back and simply watch how things unfold. This does not mean being passive. It means engaging with life from a place of awareness rather than fear or urgency. When you observe without attachment, you gain clarity. You see patterns more clearly, recognize opportunities you would have otherwise missed, and allow the right circumstances to align effortlessly. Learning to watch without trying to manipulate outcomes is one of the highest forms of mastery. It allows you to flow with life instead of fighting against it, creating a reality that unfolds with ease rather than struggle. Chapter 7. The Frequency Alignment Principle. Becoming a magnet for what you want. Everything in the universe operates on frequency. Just like a radio station, you can only hear the music if you tune into the right frequency. Your thoughts, emotions, and energy emit signals, and those signals determine what you attract into your life. If you are constantly vibrating at a level of stress, doubt, or lack, you will naturally draw in experiences that match those states. But when you align yourself with the energy of abundance, peace, and certainty, life begins to reflect those frequencies back to you. This is not wishful thinking. It is the fundamental principle of resonance. What you are internally aligned with is what you will see externally. One of the biggest mistakes people make when trying to manifest something is operating from a place of desperation. Desperation lowers your vibration because it comes from a mindset of lack. When you feel like you need something in order to be happy or complete, you are signaling to the universe that you do not have it, which reinforces the experience of not having it. This is why people who chase love, money, or success with a sense of urgency often find it slipping further away. When you desire something too strongly, your energy becomes imbalanced, and instead of attracting, you repel. The irony is that the more you relax and trust that what you want is already making its way to you, the faster it actually comes. To truly align with your desires, you must match the frequency of the outcome you seek. If you want to experience success, you need to start embodying the energy of a successful person before the external proof appears. This means carrying yourself with confidence, making decisions from a place of certainty, and shifting your mindset to one of already having rather than longing for. When you align your internal state with the reality you wish to create, external circumstances begin to adjust to match that vibration. This is not about pretending or faking it. It is about energetically stepping into the version of yourself that already possesses what you desire. The most powerful shift happens when you adopt the mindset of already having. This does not mean ignoring reality, but rather shifting your focus from lack to fulfillment. Instead of thinking, "I need more money," begin feeling gratitude for the financial abundance that is already present in your life. Even if it is small, instead of saying, "Abeshna, I want love," embody the feeling of being deeply loved and valued. When you move from wanting to knowing, from lack to certainty, things begin to manifest at an accelerated rate. The universe responds not to words, but to energy. If you constantly affirm something while feeling the opposite, your real signal is the feeling, not the words. Mastering emotional resonance is key to becoming a magnet for your desires. You must not only think about what you want, but also feel it deeply in your body. The emotions you cultivate create an energetic signature that attracts experiences of a similar nature. If you want joy, feel joy now. If you want abundance, feel abundant now. By living in the emotional state of your desired reality before it physically arrives, you create an irresistible pull that brings it into existence. This is not about forcing emotions, but about training yourself to shift into the frequency of what you seek. When you truly align your energy with what you desire, the universe has no choice but to respond in kind. Chapter 8, The Ultimate Paradox. When you no longer need, everything comes effortlessly. The greatest paradox in life is that the moment you stop desperately seeking something, it finds its way to you effortlessly. This is because true power does not come from chasing, but from knowing. When you no longer operate from a place of longing, you shift into a state of deep inner fulfillment. And that energy changes everything. Most people spend their lives searching, believing that happiness, success, or love exists somewhere outside of them. They chase after it, thinking that once they attain it, they will finally feel complete. But the more they search, the more it eludes them. Because the very act of seeking reinforces the belief that they do not yet have what they desire. The moment you stop seeking, you begin to find. This is because your energy changes from one of lack to one of certainty. Imagine walking into a room full of people. If you are desperate for attention, trying hard to impress, you might come across as needy, and people will naturally withdraw. But if you walk in with quiet confidence, completely at ease, others will be drawn to your presence. The same principle applies to everything in life. When you truly believe that what you desire is already on its way, you stop grasping for it, and in that surrender, you allow it to come naturally. Wanting something too much creates resistance, while knowing that it is already yours removes that resistance. When you say, "I want this," you are affirming that you do not yet have it. The more you focus on wanting, the more you reinforce the feeling of not having. But when you shift your mindset to one of already having, your energy aligns with the reality where your desire is fulfilled. This is why the people who seem the least concerned about money often attract it the most, and why those who are the most relaxed in relationships often have the strongest connections. The energy of non-attachment is magnetic, while the energy of neediness repels. The universe rewards deep trust. When you take a leap of faith without needing to see proof, you signal to life that you are ready. Most people hesitate because they want guarantees before they act. But the truth is, the biggest breakthroughs happen when you trust without evidence. This is how quantum shifts occur. By stepping into the unknown with absolute faith. When you stop worrying about how things will unfold and instead move with unwavering trust, doors open where there were once walls. The people who achieve extraordinary success are not always the ones who work the hardest or plan the most. They are the ones who trust deeply and act boldly. Living with absolute detachment is not about giving up on your desires, but about holding them lightly. You can have goals, dreams, and visions, but you do not cling to them as if your happiness depends on them. When you release attachment, you allow space for things to unfold in ways greater than you could have imagined. It is the difference between holding a butterfly gently in your palm and clutching it so tightly that you crush it. The more lightly you hold your desires, the more freely they can come to you. The highest level of mastery is not in chasing, but in becoming the flow itself. Instead of trying to control outcomes, you align with the natural rhythm of life and allow things to come to you effortlessly. This does not mean you stop taking action, but that your actions come from a place of inspiration rather than force. When you are in flow, you no longer struggle to make things happen. They simply unfold with ease. You become a magnet for what you desire, not because you are forcing it, but because you have aligned so deeply with its presence that it has no choice but to appear. This is the paradox of life. When you no longer need, everything comes effortlessly. Conclusion. The paradox principle is simple yet profound. When you stop chasing, what you desire flows effortlessly to you. Throughout this journey, you have uncovered the illusion of control, the power of inversion, and the necessity of space for new energy to enter. You've seen how time itself is an illusion, how chaos is often the universe's way of realigning you, and how your perception shapes reality. Most importantly, you have learned that the highest form of mastery is not forcing life to obey you, but aligning so deeply with your desires that they become inevitable. Everything you seek is already seeking you. The moment you let go of resistance, control, and desperation, you shift into a state where reality bends in your favor. You are not separate from the flow of life. You are the flow. When you trust, when you surrender, when you embody the energy of already having, the universe responds with perfect synchronicity. This is not magic. It is a fundamental law of existence. You no longer need to struggle, chase, or prove yourself. You are already enough. If this audiobook has helped you see reality in a new way, show your support by liking this video and subscribing to the channel. Your engagement helps spread this message to more people who need to hear it. And now, it's your turn to step into alignment. Type, "I am ready," in the comments to affirm your shift and send a signal to the universe. Let go, trust the process, and watch as reality bends in your favor. The journey doesn't end here. It's only just beginning.